difference between financial education and financial hype. You can get rich quick in real estate, and it does happen, I guess, occasionally, but not for the long term. Vanity. Yeah, I can do this. You know, I've invested in a couple of properties. I have a master's degree in accounting or something, and they really are so vain. And real estate is a very sophisticated game. Real estate is much harder than stocks, I would say 1,000 times harder, but your problems are bigger and your liabilities are bigger.
The financial literacy means knowing the words and the numbers. So this is assets, put money in your pocket. This is called cash flow, not income. It's income, it's cash flow. And then liabilities like your house, take it from your pocket. So this is liability income, cash flowing out. So the reason most people struggle financially is they buy a house thinking it's an asset when it's really a liability.
I would say for Kim and I, we've never lost money in real estate, but we have made a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
And our mistakes really haven't come from our side of it necessarily. It came because we trusted people. The humility of it all, the humbleness, is anybody who's successful in anything has been, the scientific term for fornications. I got screwed. Everybody's been screwed. And when you get screwed, I tell you, it's, I trusted him or her. How could they have done that to me? How do you know the bubble is about to burst? The end is near. Just before the bubble bursts is when all the fruits and fruitcakes the fruit flies come flying out there. So what is one of the worst? Like 2007 was a great time because you all know it was going to come down because everybody was into flipping real estate, right? So I meet so many people who are so vain. Real estate, yeah, I made some money and I'm just going to jump right in. The other guy that gets me is a person who says, I said, how many courses have you taken in real estate investing? They go, I have a real estate license. Well, that means you're an idiot. That's all it means to me. What does real estate license have to do with real estate investing? Zero. I mean, I can't believe how vain these guys are. You know that most real estate agents own nothing? And they're giving you advice on investing? And there's this friend of mine, and she's been around us since the start. And I said, have you ever gone to a real estate seminar? She goes, no. And all she does is bitch about her student loan debt. And I'm going, it doesn't cost you anything. Just go sit there and I got too much debt. And they stay stuck in their past mistakes they made when they were 25 years old signing up for a master's degree. And I don't, that's what I've been saying to a lot. I'm really kind of tired of this. Because if a person's going to be that stuck, then why do I even bother talking to them? Yet that's part of the business, right?
In any market, markets move up, markets move down, and markets move sideways. They're called trends. So what you want to look for is the area, hopefully, that's moving up. Would you agree with that? Like we always talked about, there's some cities where people are moving out of, people are moving into. Generally, where would you rather invest? So in any market, any investment, you have to watch the trends. There's always 3 trends, up, down, and sideways. Another way people become very successful in choosing the area first is sometimes you look for an area that's been down for years, and suddenly it comes back to life again. And if you're just starting out, let me give you one more tip that I learned the hard way. My first investment property I bought on another island in the island from Hawaii. So I had a problem in this piece of property. It meant I had to catch a plane, fly there, rent a car, and go check my property. And so this problem persisted for a while, and so for 2 days a week, I was getting on a plane, flying to another island, renting a car, look at this property. So that added to the next thing. If you're going to find an area, make sure it's close to your house. And so I would recommend this, is find an area that you can even walk to. In my book, I talk about how the first investment property that Kim and I bought together, I used to jog past this neighborhood. So if it's close enough to jog to, it's close enough. That's a great area. Or find an area that you can drive when you're going back and forth to work. The reason is when you're first starting out, you're bound to make a few mistakes. So make sure the area is close by. It's another good choice. After you've identified the area that you want to invest in, hopefully one that's going up, At that point, you begin looking at properties, the actual sticks and bricks, as I call it. That's why I say to people, fall in love with the area, but not necessarily the house. In fact, a lot of times I look for the best area with the ugliest house. And only at that point do I start looking at multiple properties. I don't want to get attached to any one. Sometimes you walk into a property that's not even listed just because you're looking around the area. Right. So after you find this area, you become this expert, and once you become this expert, let's say you're jogging or riding your bike around, and everybody knows you're looking for investments, suddenly people start giving you all these great deals and these properties. So that's the next step. After you've identified the area, then you start looking for the properties, and oftentimes I don't really care if they're bad. In fact, some of them can be too bad or too broken. But you're looking for problems sometimes, or sometimes they don't have to be a problem. It's just great deals.
Well, I'll say it again. In 1973, I came back from Vietnam, and I was a pilot out there. And I took a real estate course. It was $385, 3 days long. And that was a lot of money back then. I was only making $500 a month, so $385 was all I had. And the instructor at the end of the program said to me, he said, or to the whole class of about 30 of us, he says, your education begins now that you leave the class. You didn't get educated while the class. So his assignment was that everybody, or 30 of us, we had to pair up in team, get up in teams, two or three at a team, and we had to look at 100 properties in 90 days. And he says, don't buy anything, just look at 100 properties, do your evaluation of each property, write a short blurb about it, why it's good, why it's bad. And it's at the end of 90 days and 100 properties, then you make up your mind if you're going to buy something. He says, if you haven't found one property in 100 deals, you start again. You start again with another 100. And that's why most people are not rich, is they're not willing to go through that process of looking at 100 deals to find one deal. And there's sometimes, and you and I know, you look at a lot of frogs to find one princess. But when you find that one princess, everybody goes, oh, well, how do you get so lucky? Well, I looked at a lot of dirt dogs out there, Mm-hmm. And that's like anything in life. You don't marry the first man or woman you meet. Hopefully you kiss a couple of them, before you do. One of the most famous ways people use options is a down payment. So let's say I'm going to buy a house for, let's say, $100,000, and I go and I put $10,000 down. Some people call this a down payment, but what this $10,000 means to, and then the bank gives me $90,000. Going to use the banker's money to get rich. The reason I look at this as an option more than anything else is because if the price goes to $120,000, I now have the option to sell it for a higher price. The risk is if it goes down, then I can't get in trouble. And that's true with any kind of option. So that's one of the ways that options are used in real estate. And again, for me, from my perspective on it, a real estate down payment is an option to either buy this property later on or refinance it. And the beauty of real estate is this: if the price of this property goes up, the bank still only gets $90,000. Let's say it goes to $150,000, you get the $50,000, but the bank still gets the $90,000. That's why I absolutely love real estate, and I love the idea of options in it. Another way an option can be used is you can go up to a seller, if somebody has a house, and say, look, in 3 years, I want to buy your house for $10,000 or something like, $10,000 more than you owe right now, and here's my paper, but just give me the first right to buy it. And you generally have to give them something like $1,000 for that right for that option. That's another way it's used. Another way options are used in real estate, which I use quite often, is let's say I go up to a project and they say, we're going to break ground in 1 year on this apartment condominium project, and you can buy a condominium right now before it's even built. So it's called a pre-construction purchase. It's also called buying off the plans. In other words, and I don't recommend this wholeheartedly, but off the plans means the building's not even built yet. But you go up to the developer because they have to sell so many of these projects. They have to sell so many units or get so many buyers committed to them. So let's say I give them $1,000 down, price is $50,000 today, and 3 years from now, when the project is completed, the project's worth $150,000. At that point, I don't have to buy the project. I don't have to finance this $150,000. What I can do is just basically sell my position, my option, to somebody else for the $100,000, and they can buy the property also.
So I do all these types of options in real estate, and even right now I'm buying 6 units off the plans. The buildings aren't even built yet, but I'm putting an option down in 3 years, hopefully, and this is called speculation, not investing, because I'm speculating the price will go up. The option just assures me there's a certain price today, and I'm betting that the price will be higher in the future. So these are the types of ways options are used in real estate also.
There's a reason I like real estate is because I use debt, other people's money. So when I hear somebody say I can't afford it, well, you're not supposed to afford it. You're supposed to use your bank's money. It's different. And when I do that, I pay less tax. So once I understood here, playing Monopoly with my rich dad, 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel, 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. I think today I have 5,000 greenhouses and 4 green hotels. That's what makes me rich, not my college degree. And every year I add more, and the more I add, more debt I accrue, less tax I pay. That's the game.
It's always the same thing, is that real estate is the best investment of all. There's 2 reasons why real estate's the best investment, time-honored, but you gotta be smart at it. The number 1 reason for real estate is debt. Who else is going to give you money to buy? They don't give you money to start a business, or they don't give you money to invest in oil, but they give you money to buy real estate. So debt is the key. So as I cover in my book, Second Chance, debt makes the rich richer. And secondly, taxes make the rich richer. So when I buy real estate, it is the last investment where I can make millions of dollars and pay 0 tax legally. So the irony of it is these guys who are investing in the stock market, they don't really have any advantages for debt. There's some little bit, and they have no real tax advantages. That's stupid. So I don't care what you say about good markets or bad markets, good real estate, bad real estate. Real estate is the last great investment. Number 1 for debt, number 2 for taxes.